Hey everyone, so I just wanted to show you another quick way that we can simplify if statements in Java. So right now, let's do the same thing we did in the previous video. So we're going to say if height meters is greater than 0.5. Oh, and for our new one, we're only going to have a high and a low. There's going to be no mid. So let's say if height meters is greater than 0.5, we're going to say is drivetrain slow equals true. And then else is drivetrain slow equals false. So one of the problems you might see with this, we're doing this value twice, so this condition is completely unnecessary, but we can actually simplify this even more. We don't even need an if statement whatsoever. What we could instead do is take this block right here, this right here, since this is just a boolean, we could just set that to is our drivetrain slow. So let's see how this code reacts. So let's try running it. It's at 0.9, so it says our drivetrain is slow. Let's try 0.1 for example, and now our drivetrain is not slow. So just like that, sometimes you can entirely eliminate if statements and make your code way more simple. So let's try to think of a different example. So let's say we have a string, and this is going to be our height, our formatted height, and this, let's say we want it to be equal to, how about high, or let's say low for now. That'll be our starting, right? So we can't do that same thing with the if statement with this because you can't go and say like if height meters is greater than 0.5 because this is a boolean and we don't want it to just say um we don't want it to just say true or false. We want this to basically say we want this basically to say either high or low. So instead of doing that, let's go back to how we did it before. We could try, how about we'll start with low, and then if height meters is greater than 0.5, then we'll change our formatted height to high. And then of course we can print this out, so SOUT, whoopsie. It's not very reliable in here, so we're gonna go height is plus formatted height. So there we go. It's just giving me an error for no reason, a little phantom error. And you can see it says height is low. Now if I set it to a higher value, and now we're gonna see, oh, I misspelled height, just realized. Height is high. So we can actually simplify this even more, but this is a little bit controversial because it can sometimes be difficult to read, just in my personal opinion. So what we can do is instead of having this, we can use what's called the ternary operator. And the way it works is it's basically like we can have our if statement inside of this line right here. So let me try to demonstrate. So right now, what we could do is create our if statement, right? So it was height meters is greater than 0.5. And that's our statement. And then we could put a question mark here to basically say, okay, this is what I want to happen if it's true. We want our string to be high. And then otherwise, we want it to be given the value low. This right here will work in the exact same way. But like I said, this is a highly controversial way because a lot of times people say that this can be very confusing to read. So it really is personal preference, but the reason I'm teaching it, because I'm not the biggest fan of the ternary operator, but the reason I'm teaching it is because you're surely going to see this one day. And so it's probably a good idea to understand what it is and what you're seeing, because you're like, what? What? It's pretty confusing. Like you just see a bunch of symbol. It's like symbol something, symbol something, symbol something, symbol something. So it's just important to see. And it is like when you do understand it, this looks really simple. Like there's not much happening. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but it is genuinely just personal preference, however you want to do it. If you like this, feel free to use it all you want. Just be careful um, and always make sure your code is readable to other people because that's one of the most important things when coding, since other people are always going to be seeing your code, and if you ever need help, it will help you so much to have clean code so that other people can help you more easily to understand your code. So that was the ternary operator and how we can use it.